Whiskey fam, sit down and let's talk about this dram. This is the Seagrass 16-year by Barrell. Now, if you guys have already tried Barrell and you're just curious to know a little bit more about these gray labels, hit me up, drop a comment. I'd like to hear your thoughts on these because honestly, this is the premium side of what Barrell has to offer. Now, this was lent to me by my good friend Erik Anderson, who wanted to hear my thoughts on what was already something that I've tried before. So what's so special about this one? Well, this is their cask strength version, and it is starting at a 16-year Canadian rye. This is bottled at 6.67 ABV, so the proof is a little high up there. So I think it's like 133 plus proof. And honestly, let's just go ahead and get into this. For those of you that follow me, I sincerely appreciate it. If you're watching this on YouTube, thank you so much for checking us out and, you know, watching the vid, see what I have to say about this sucker. But hopefully you guys stick around, you become subscribers, you follow the channel, and at some point you decide, hey, you know, it is a good idea to be a Patreon and support this guy because he's kind of cool. And he has a great palate, by the way. Some say the greatest palate north of Iceland. Neither here nor there. But let's go ahead and try this. So on color, the way it looks is a little bit light. Yeah, it's got a good amount of legs starting to form. So it's got some thick viscosity, sure. But let's check out the nose. Ooh, very fruity. If you guys are into ryes, but you like them to be complex and got a little extra, you know, Barrell has quite a few offerings that you might actually be into. And if you're not willing to drop, let's just say between 180 to 280 on a bottle, I highly recommend definitely trying out their flagship Seagrass. Now, as far as this one though, that's what you're gonna be paying. And you can find these online. Barrell also offers some bottles directly on their website that you can buy that are Seagrass. I think it was a 13-year and a 19-year that's still available. Now, I haven't tried those, but this one's getting me a little curious. So, all right, on the nose, you get orchard fruits. You certainly get some mint, some fresh crushed mint leaves. Oh man, it's got a tobacco note to it that I really like. It's very effervescent, so you get that bright, shiny orchard fruit medley going on, some tropical fruits. Cloves, you get a lot of cinnamon. And it's dark. For being aged, you know, in a Madeira cask, but also a Brandy cask, I get more of the orchard fruits than I do like those dark red fruits. You know, usually you get some dried cherries, like a fruit medley, like of berries on Madeira casks. Not necessarily always, but you can expect that. But I really like the nose so far. It's wildly complex. I get a lot of leather, I get a lot of tobacco, and the things that you like about rye, you know, where it's very green, very fresh, and spicy, you definitely get that here on the nose. So cheers guys, let's get into this. Man, at 66% alcohol, it brings some heat, but it doesn't like burn, which is great. You know, sometimes you get a bottle, it's high proof, cask strength, and they can be a bit overwhelming. This one is rye, and so you can also expect it to kind of be aggressive at times. It just kind of depends what it is that you're sipping on. But a cask strength rye is going to get your attention. So for those of you that are new to whiskey, I don't necessarily like recommend just jumping right into cask strength ryes, but you know, if you're adventurous, you wear a cowboy hat wherever you go, like that's kind of maybe where you want to start. Who knows? I might be talking to the wrong crowd. But me personally, I do like adventurous whiskey, and that's my initial thoughts on this. Ooh, there's a lot going on. I'm gonna take another sip and I'm gonna kind of talk through the different notes that I get. So cheers again. Mm. Mm-mm. Oh, that tastes great. That's just a great dram. Loads of heat, loads of rye spice, so the baking spices come at you. Good amount of cloves, anise, cinnamon. Heavier on the cinnamon side. Oh wow, there's a chewy aspect to it, and I think that's just the proof of it. It's just fruits, lots of fruits. It kind of dances on the tongue, sticks to the palate, so you definitely will feel this hanging on with a great amount of finish. But it's also very complex. So not a one-trick pony. Sometimes you get your hands on a rye that's pretty much just a bunch of baking spices and that's about it. But I like that there is a good amount of fruit medley going on. Now I'm getting this like light note of banana. It's nutty. So some pistachio going on. Yeah, leathery still, good amount of tobacco. And then there's this subtle, subtle coffee note. It's not like as pronounced as I'd like some ryes to have, but I'm gonna take one more sip and I'm gonna let you know who I think this speaks the most to. So cheers one last time. Mm-mm. Man, I mean, as soon as I bring the glass to my nose and I'm about to take a sip, it all hits you. It just all comes at you. Lots of flavors, lots of things happening, lots of sprites and sparkly things. And I'm talking about the fruitiness of this. So the orchard fruits continue to embellish in this dram. There's a lot of orchard fruits, a lot of leather, a lot of tobacco. I think the tobacco really hits you on the tail end and it blends beautifully with, the baking spices and the spiciness of it. And you just get this light touch of mint. And if you didn't know any better, this is almost like a proofed up version of a cocktail. If you guys like Manhattans, this might be something right up your alley, or an old fashioned. There is one last thing I wanted to kind of inject. So I'm going to put this in the middle of my video, and it's a recommendation, a little food for thought for the folks at Barrell. Now, if you're going to be spending quite a bit of cheddar on a nice fancy bottle, something that's not wanting to get dropped on the floor and get smashed, you may want to rethink your boxing because honestly, the weight of the bottle will kind of throw people off when they're grabbing this box and they kind of expect to just hold it from the side. My friend who let me borrow this let me know that he almost lost this gem due to the packaging and it just fell straight onto the floor. However, it did survive the fall. But if you guys at Barrell could rethink the design on your boxing, that would be great. I personally think that this mostly speaks to the whiskey curious, in my opinion. Just the high proof of it, those that already probably have a bottle of Seagrass on their own shelves, want to try something that is going to challenge them even more, will gravitate to this. Again, the price point is about $180 to $280. It's not going to be for those that are just getting into whiskey and don't have a good idea of what to expect or what they even want to grab. But hopefully you got enough tasting notes and enough information to let you know whether you want to get this bottle. But me personally, I feel like that's who this speaks to the most. So for those of you guys watching, I highly recommend checking out our whiskeyonechannel.com website. I post my reviews there. So if you're not a social media guy and you just want to subscribe to something that you're not going to get blasted on social media a bunch, definitely check out the website. We also have merch there. I highly recommend it because we do have Glencairns with our Whiskey One logo on it. Very affordable. We also have t-shirts. We're looking to order a new set of t-shirts. That's going to be coming soon. So check that out. We also do distillery visits. We post different videos that you also can find on YouTube. So it's sort of a one-stop shop. So check us out on our website. And if you are watching us on YouTube, consider subscribing. I would love to get your support. All right, folks. Well, thank you for sticking around and checking out the video. Here at Whiskey One, It's about the one you enjoy. Cheers.